Welcome. This is 11th lecture on this video lecture series, and in this video I am going to discuss about first order phase transition. I will give you the complete concept of first order phase transition. Then I will discuss some important curve which is related to this concept, and finally we will derive Clausius-Clapeyron equation by using this concept. Before going to phase transition, we need to understand what is phase. We know a substance usually stay in solid, liquid or gaseous state. These states are referred as a phase. So how we can define a phase? A phase is defined as a system which is homogeneous and have defined boundary. So solid, liquid and gas. Now we know the phase. So phase transition is defined when a thermodynamical system changes from one state to another. Like if your state of system changes from solid to liquid or liquid to gas or solid to gas, any kind of interchange between these states are called phase transition. Now this phase transition occur at particular temperature and pressure. For example, boiling of water. Under the normal atmospheric pressure, water boil at 100 degrees centigrade, and at that temperature liquid changes to gaseous state. Therefore, in any kind of phase transition, this takes place when you change its temperature and pressure, and at particular value of temperature and pressure you will find out this phase transition. And there are always some property associated with this phase transition, like during solid to liquid transition you will find out discontinuity in shearing strength. Similarly, in liquid to gaseous state you will find out discontinuity in density. There are many other examples like gaseous to plasma state, conductivity to superconductivity state, and so on. Now we have seen certain properties associated during this phase transition. So if we can associate some thermodynamical function or thermodynamical quantity with this phase transition, and depending upon certain criteria over those thermodynamical function or thermodynamical quantities, we can distinguish this phase transition as first order phase transition or second order phase transition, like that. So in this video we will focus on first order phase transition. Any phase transition which satisfy the following criteria, we can say that phase transition is in first order phase transition. And these criteria are, first one is there are change in entropy and volume. The second condition is first order derivative of Gibbs function changes discontinuously. Means if you plot the curve for first derivative of Gibbs function, you will find out discontinuity at the point of phase transition. Suppose you are plotting the curve with respect to temperature, and at particular temperature where this phase transition occur, at that point your first order derivative of Gibbs function must be discontinuous. If any phase transition satisfies these two criteria, we will say that this phase transition is first order phase transition. Examples are melting, vaporization, sublimation, and so on. During first order phase transition, temperature and pressure remain constant because the phase transition occurs at a particular temperature and pressure. At that temperature and pressure, entropy and volume change. Okay, so this is how we can identify first order transition. Let's see it from the mathematical point of view. Suppose we have a system in initial phase I, and after transition it goes to phase F. Here S is molar entropy, V is molar volume, G is Gibbs function, N is moles. F denotes the final phase and I denotes the initial phase. Here this S, V and G all are function of temperature and pressure. Why? As I said that phase transition occurs at particular temperature and pressure. So if you change the pressure, the temperature will automatically change. Therefore, with the change in temperature and pressure, this property, entropy, volume, Gibbs function all will change. Now assume at any instant of time, x fraction of the initial phase transformed into final phase. Like example, while boiling of water, if you watch at any instant, you will find out certain portion of water is vaporized. Similar way, we just assume that X fraction of initial phase changes to final phase. Under this scenario, we can write total entropy of the system. Here the system means the system containing both initial phase and final phase. Total entropy of entire system is given by S equals to N naught 1 minus X Si. Why 1 minus X? Because X fraction is converted, so we still left with 1 minus X fraction. And S is molar entropy, therefore we need to multiply by number of moles. So N naught 1 minus X Si plus N naught X Sf. This is total entropy. In similar way, we can write total volume. Now, suppose this phase transition takes place reversibly. And as the phase transition takes place, there must be heat absorbed associated with it. And that heat is latent heat. And we know from the second law of thermodynamics that if delta Q amount of heat is absorbed, then we can write delta Q equals to T delta S. Here at phase transition, that delta Q will be equals to latent heat. Therefore, latent heat per mole will be equals to T into Sf minus Si. Here this S are in the molar entropy, that's why this L latent heat will be latent heat transfer per mole. Now this L is not equals to 0, this T is not equals to 0. Therefore, we can write Sf is not equals to Si. And this equation suggests there is change in entropy because Sf is not equals to Si. And change in volume is obvious. So here we just satisfied the first condition, that is change in entropy and change in volume. Now we know from our previous lecture on Gibbs free energy, G equals to U minus Ts plus Pv. This is the Gibbs function. As this is the molar Gibbs function, that's why we are using a small g instead of capital. This U is molar internal energy, this S is molar entropy, and so on. Now if you differentiate this equation, you will get dz equals to du minus tds minus sdt plus vdp plus pdv. Just utilize first and second law of thermodynamics. From first law of thermodynamics, we can write dq equals to du plus pdv. From second law of thermodynamics, we can write Tds equals to dq. Therefore, if you combine first law and second law, you can write Tds equals to du plus pdv. Just replace this Tds by this relation. So the final form of dg will stand like this. dg equals to minus sdt plus vdp. Change in molar Gibbs function will depend upon change in temperature and change in pressure. This we already defined that G depend upon temperature and pressure. Therefore, we can write G as a function of temperature and pressure. Now, if G is the function of temperature and pressure, then dz will be equals to del G del T at constant P into dt plus del G del P at constant T into dP. All these things I have already discussed during the lecture on Gibbs free energy. You will find detailed discussion there. Now, there are two different forms of dz, so we can simply compare them, and by comparing we will find out S equals to minus del G del T at constant P. And what is this? This is first order derivative of Gibbs function, and which is equals to S, entropy. Now we know at phase transition, entropy of system is changes. That means at the onset of phase transition, there is discontinuity in first order derivative of Gibbs function. Similarly, if you compare the coefficient of dP, you will find out V equals to del G del P at constant T. Now we know on the onset of phase transition, V changes. That means this first order derivative of Gibbs free energy will be discontinuous because on the onset of transition, this V has a two distinct value. Then how you can choose that which value del G del P will take? Therefore, you will find out that del G del P which is first order derivative of Gibbs function, will be discontinuous. Okay. So far we have proved those two conditions. Now we will see another property, that is continuity of Gibbs function. To prove this criteria, we will consider a closed system in which phase transition occur. Like you take a container, put some liquid and boil it. So that liquid will transfer to vapor state and everything will be closed inside that container. At any instant of time, suppose m1 and m2 be the masses of state 1 and state 2 respectively. Okay, so state 1 is phase 1, state 2 is phase 2, and phase transition happening from state 1 to state 2. Consider specific Gibbs energy G1 and G2. Specific Gibbs energy means Gibbs energy per unit mass. Therefore, total Gibbs energy for the system will be, we can write like this: G equals to m1 G1 plus m2 G2. We know this G1 and G2 is the function of temperature and pressure, but this capital G, total Gibbs free energy of the system, will depend upon pressure, temperature as well as the masses of respective phases. Right, if m1 will change, then this capital G will automatically change. So this capital G is a function of pressure, temperature, m1 and m2. Now assume after time dt some part of state 1 material gets converted to state 2. We know this phase transition happens at constant pressure and temperature. Therefore, this G1 and G2 will be constant and M1 will change and M2 will automatically change. Therefore, if you differentiate this relation, you will get dz equals to G1 dm1 plus G2 dm2, because G1 and G2 is constant and we will differentiate over masses. Now, for a reversible process, the equilibrium condition is dz equals to 0. This we know from our lecture on Gibbs function, which says on the equilibrium we will have dz equals to 0. Now see another condition. As this system is closed, the total mass of system will be constant. Here m1 plus m2 will be constant, not equals to 0. It must be some constant k. So if you differentiate this relation, you will get dm1 plus dm2 equals to 0. Now just utilize this and this. If you utilize these three equations, you will find out, just substitute dz equals to 0 here. Substitute this condition, dm1 equals to minus dm2, you will find out g1 equals to g2. Means specific Gibbs potential is continuous during this kind of phase change. So far we have proved all three conditions. Gibbs potential is continuous, change in entropy and volume, discontinuity in the first order derivative of Gibbs function. Now see some important curves. First, this is molar Gibbs function. As I said, this is continuous. Let's suppose this is the dotted line is the point of transition. So molar Gibbs function will be continuous. You won't see any discontinuity at this point. This is the curve for molar entropy, which is also equals to first derivative of Gibbs function. And here we can easily see that initial phase I, this entropy is constant, but at the point of transition suddenly it changes from Si to Sf. Therefore, there is discontinuity in first order derivative of Gibbs function. Similarly, the molar volume, which is also discontinuous at the phase transition. Now we can see other properties like Cp, specific heat at constant pressure, which is given by T del S del T P. At constant pressure, change in temperature will be 0. Why? Because if pressure is not changed, then temperature at which the phase transition will occur will also not change. Therefore, at constant pressure, this del T will be 0 onset of phase transition. And if this is 0, then this whole term will be infinite. If you plot the curve for this specific heat, you will find out that initially in the phase I it is continuous and suddenly it jumps to infinity. And if you come from the final state, you will see it's continuous till the transition point and it's become infinite. Similarly, other properties like coefficient of volume expansion will be also infinite. These curves are very important. Also, this relation, you will find out many questions from this single screen in your examination, even in your competitive exam. Now we are in the final part, Clausius-Clapeyron equation, by the concept of first order phase transition. We have just derived that Gibbs function remain constant during a phase transition. Suppose your phase transition is occur at temperature T and pressure P. And as Gibbs function is continuous, then we can simply write Gi equals to Gf. Gi is the molar Gibbs function in phase I and Gf is the molar Gibbs function in phase F. Now if you change your pressure by dP amount, as a result the phase transition will occur at different temperature, and let's say that temperature is T plus dt. Under that scenario, this Gibbs function will also change. Therefore we can write Gi plus dgi equals to Gf plus dgf. Here dgi is change in Gibbs function for the initial phase and this dgf is change in Gibbs function for the final state. Now we can simply utilize this relation. Gi is equals to Gf, so this will cancel out. Therefore we can have dgi equals to dgf. And we have just derived the expression for dz. So we will utilize that expression, which is equals to minus si dt plus vi dp. Similarly for dgf. Now from this relation we can just write dp upon dt. Just collect dp in one side, dt another side, and just make relation for dp upon dt, which will be equals to si minus sf upon vf minus vi. What is si minus sf? Si minus sf is L upon T. This point we have already discussed in this video. Therefore, dP upon dt equals to L upon T Vf minus Vi. And what is this? This is Clausius-Clapeyron equation. This equation we have already derived in previous lecture with the help of Maxwell's relation. And in this lecture we have derived this equation using the concept of first order phase transition. So I am stopping here. Hope all these concepts are clear. If you have any question, you can put your question in comment box. See you. Thank you.